Man, what's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? Hope everybody's had a good week, good weekend, and had to just tune in and kind of touch on a couple of things that's been developing this past week, and just kind of get some dialogue going. Just kind of spark that conversation like I always do. Just give you something to think about, kind of get some feedback and see where everybody else's mind is at. So feel free to please like the video, subscribe to the channel, go in the comment section and support the merch. Got the words my 450,000 and many other shirts and items that you may like. So yeah, I appreciate all the support. But let's get into this. So the first thing I want to talk about today was the Amir Locke shooting. So a lot has been going on around this case, and if you have not heard, Amir Locke was the young man that was killed by police. I want to say in Minneapolis due to a no-knock warrant being served. The young man was sitting on the couch. Police burst in while he was laying on the couch as he reached for his pistol. And then as he tried to pull it up or whatever, the police opened fire. So before we, get into some more in-depth dialogue about it, let's kind of look at what his aunt had to say, some of the search warrant stuff, and we'll talk more about it. So for those who aren't abreast on it, I want to make sure you see it before we get to going too deep into the conversation. All right, so let me go ahead and share the screen, and let's get it popping. All right, so this is Democracy Now! From Amy Goodman, for those that don't know. So let's check it out.
A warning to our audience, the next stories contain graphic accounts of police violence and racist killings. In Minneapolis, mourners gathered Thursday for the funeral of Amir Locke, the 20...
Now, real quick, I try not to be too partial before we get into the video, but I noticed how she said that, she gave a disclaimer about the graphic art, the graphic video and of racist killings. Now, I'm not saying that some of these killings are racially motivated, and but at the same time, it's got to be. I think that they should put alleged racial killings with that disclaimer, because we don't know if everybody in these situations that are killing people are actual racists. We assume that they are, but you don't know for sure. So, but anyways, let's get to the video. Let's continue on.
22-year-old black man who was fatally shot by police officers executing a no-knock warrant on February 2nd. Body camera video of the incident shows Locke appeared to be asleep on a couch, wrapped in a blanket, when a SWAT team entered the apartment. White police officer Mark Hanneman shot Locke 3 times, opening fire less than 9 seconds into the raid. On Thursday, the Reverend Al Sharpton delivered Locke's eulogy, saying Amir was not guilty of anything but being young and black in America. His aunt, Linda Taylor, also spoke.
All right, before we get to the aunt speaking, man, see, you got these guys like Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton, that we know that a lot of these people just cater to these type of situations to just stay relevant. A silver suit is coming, and how these guys get paid, being in the media, helping push this certain narrative. And the reason why I'm saying this is because it makes it hard to really understand and decipher what's really genuine about these situations and what may be playing tricks on your emotions in your mindset just to get you to feel a certain type of way, and it paints the narrative that they may want to have. So you got to be really careful when you get to hearing some of this stuff and try to be impartial, read into it in depth, and then make the best decision.
We don't want to continue to hear about being a police officer. It's a difficult job. You have to make split decisions. You fear for your life. You were not drafted into the police department. You chose that profession. And if you think being a police officer is a difficult profession, try to be a black man.
Amir Locke's and Linda Taylor. In St. Paul, Minnesota, the federal civil rights trial of 3 former police officers involved in George Floyd's murder continued Thursday.
All right, so we ain't getting to that, but try to be a black man, boy. She said a real powerful statement in that. And I'm not gonna knock that, but so with so many of these cases, man, so many of these cases, you have to really be careful to not jump the gun in making your decisions because we're gonna play this other video and we're gonna show the video of what happened and then we're gonna let you be the judge because you just gotta really be careful, man. Because you could tell she was reading that and somebody prepared that speech and it touched you. But at the same time, you got to be realistic about what's really out here happening. So let's move to the next video that actually shows the situation what occurred. We'll talk about the shooting at the protest for Amir Locke and a couple of other things around this situation. So let me share the screen and let you guys get a chance to check this out for those of y'all who haven't seen it yet. All right. Here we go.
The video unfold quickly, as you just saw. The video clip itself was 15 seconds in total, but an officer's gun goes off 9 seconds after police enter the apartment. Officers use a key to open the door and immediately start shouting search warrant and other commands as they enter. MPD gave us this slowed down version of the footage. Their guns are drawn, flashlights on. They then kick the couch that Locke is sleeping on, and as he awakens and gets up, he is holding a gun. Officer Mark Hanneman shoots him. Police also released this still frame from the video showing the gun in Locke's hand. Yesterday, police said the gun was pointed at officers. At a press conference with Mayor Jacob Frey tonight, community leaders asked Interim Police Chief Amelia Huffman if she could specifically point out when the gun was pointed at the officer.
So if you look at that still image, even though you don't see all of the officers, the involved officer was just outside the frame in the direction that barrel is emerging from the blanket.
But it looked to me as if that gun in Mr. Locke's head was pointing toward the floor.
And certainly when the county attorney's office reviews that case, they will be carefully examining all of those factors. And I'm absolutely positive they will take a look at that.
It was not long after that answer that civil rights attorney Nakima Levy-Armstrong passionately interrupted the press conference. She's part of a new city commission to improve public safety and said Frey and Huffman's response to the shooting is not what voters want.
What they were expecting is a new beginning. That's why they gave you more power and authority. So that is what we want to see as the residents of Minneapolis. We don't want to see cover-ups. We don't want to see whitewashing. People are asking very simple questions that have still not been answered. Amelia, you're saying you want to be the chief? Then act like it.
We learned some other new details tonight. St. Paul police had a warrant to search 3 apartments in the building related to a homicide investigation. Chief Huffman did confirm that Locke was not named in the search warrant and added that St. Paul police recovered evidence from the building that could be related to that initial homicide investigation.
Okay, man, crazy. Man's going down. So anyways, as you see, okay, so the police come in, he sleep on the couch. They come in and kick the couch. They screaming police, search warrant. Now, if you sleep, do you really hear all of that going on? And are you able to comprehend enough to know, like, hey, this really the laws in here. I better not grab for this pistol. Or you just reacting. Like, you're not really sure if it's the police coming in or not. So you reaching for your pistol, you grabbing your gun, and then it's just in self-defense, you're just trying to make sure nobody's in there trying to rob you or bring you home. So, man, it's an interesting situation. From my experience dealing with police officers and growing up, in the hood or whatever, you don't grab that pistol, man. You just don't grab that pistol. You don't reach for that pistol. You keep your hands in the air. But if you sleep and you unaware what's going on, who's to say that you knew what? You knew what? You just probably just acting out of just your first thought, your first mind, acting out of instinct. But let me show this video because at the end they hit it on about why they were there. Who they were there for. They talked about a murder investigation that was going on. And this is what I'm talking about. they control the narrative, especially when you don't survive the incident. So they can go out and paint you in any type of light that they want to. That's why it's very important to protect and watch what you put on these social media sites, and what you act like in public, and the words that you speak. Because if a situation occurs and you don't make it on the other side, then they're gonna use what they can do to help assassinate your character. And here's an example of that. I'm gonna show this video of Amir Locke and go into the search warrant. All right, so let me see. I can share this screen. Let's share this other video. All right, unsealed search warrant. So this is all for fair use, journalistic type of purposes, so let's get into it.
New developments out of Hennepin County as the courts unsealed the search warrants connected to last week's deadly SWAT team raid in a downtown Minneapolis apartment complex. That's where Amir Locke was shot and killed as law enforcement investigated a St. Paul murder. The documents show authorities wanted a no-knock warrant to protect the public and the officers making entry from potentially armed suspects.
Paul Bloom spent the day combing through those documents. And Paul, again, to reiterate what we've been reporting, Amir Locke was not named in those papers.
Counselor Amanda, he is not. The documents appear to be by the book request for a no-knock search warrant under current state law. Minneapolis SWAT concerned about violent suspects potentially armed with weaponry that could penetrate police body armor. Here is the no-knock search warrant for Bolero Flats Apartment 701, signed by Hennepin County Judge Peter Cahill. The document giving the Minneapolis SWAT team authorization to make a stealth, early morning, no-knock entry on February 2nd. Amir Locke apparently sleeping on the couch when officers unlock the door, then rush in shouting. The body camera footage capturing Locke startled awake under the blanket and grabbing a handgun before he's quickly shot and killed by Officer Mark Hanneman. The warrant providing a clearer picture of the events leading up to the deadly raid and the St. Paul murder investigation that led law enforcement to the downtown apartment tower. On January 10th, Otis Elder was shot and killed in the capital city. Detectives eventually tracking down video evidence of a stolen Mercedes, fleeing the scene and returning soon after to Bolero Flats. Further surveillance would identify suspects, including Locke's cousin, Mackay Speed. Their social media accounts capturing them posing with guns and driving around in fancy cars.
All right, let me back it up and I'm going to continue on for a second. And as you see, this is what I mean by they will use these images to assassinate your character. So before the trial even starts, they are already showing pictures of him up holding pistols, allegedly, with him and his cousin, allegedly. And they're going to use that to show that, he was potentially a violent threat, a possible threat. They talked about the murder investigation, possible carjacking or whatnot. And, they're going to use this to get into the minds of the jury and sway the audience to believe that the murder was justified. So this is what I'm coming back to what I was saying about you got to watch the images and everything that you put out here on the social media. But we've gotten into a culture to where, the gangster behavior, thug behavior, which was kind of infiltrated by, was basically infiltrated into rap or inserted into rap in the 90s and was gradually more and more normalized over the years to the point to where it's cool to be a thug or a gangster or a criminal. And it's not cool to be educated, sophisticated, and smart. And we've always talked about that growing up. Like you grow up in the hood. If you don't want to go to class trying to get good grades, people often make fun of you. But if you around here robbing people, selling dope, hustling or whatever, then you looked at it as being cool. Now, once you go to the pen and you get out and you try to change your life around and you get your degrees and start your businesses, then people want to tap you on the back and say, man, you did it, man, good job. But did it really take all of that foolishness that you had to go through just to help you see the other side? We really need to be tapping and congratulating people who who stayed on the narrow course, and just never drifted off. And congratulating and thanking them for putting in their hard work, not taking nothing away from the people who turned their life around. But, eventually you have young men like this who are going to commit crimes, XYZ, whatever the case may be, allegedly, then go, do time in jail or whatever the case may be, turn their lives around, and then they're going to receive all the accolades when the people who just never even went down this road often get overlooked and underpraised. So we really have to watch how we, okay, certain behaviors being portrayed and given to us by the media and entertainers, like the rappers and the TV, the videos that are being put out. A lot of this stuff is put out to us, like we talk about all the time, by these major corporations. And many of these major corporations are owned by your enemy, your opposition. And it's just not checkers out here. So, we got to quit allowing our youth, even our adults, to stop falling for the okie doke. All right? So, bam, we'll finish this.
Guns and driving around in fancy cars. Police believe they were involved in several other violent crimes. The search warrants were for 3 units connected to Speed, his family, and known associates. They're all signed by KL. The warrant for 701 reading in part, quote, "A no-knock entry is necessary to prevent the loss, destruction, or removal of the objects of the search, or to protect the searchers or the public, because this homicide was a violent robbery where the suspect shot the victim with a .223 caliber firearm, continuing that the rifle rounds are capable of penetrating police body armor."
One more note to pass along, we see within the documents unsealed today that St. Paul Police had a standard knock and announce warrant approved on January 31st, but it was never executed. And then the no-knock version was obtained a day later. Sources have told Fox 9 that was done at the insistence of MPD, again, for protection under the circumstances. Paul Bloom, Fox 9.
All right, Paul, thank you.
All right, we'll stop it right there. And if you know anything about guns, 223 assault rifle bullets, man, will penetrate that vest. That's why they so popular, man. And so, like I just said, the video, you saw that it was a murder warrant. They were looking for some murder suspects. It just so happened that the murder suspect they were looking for was Amir Locke's cousin. And they showed them both on the video holding up pistols, riding around in cars. And a robbery had just been committed where a man was hit with a .223 rob, and it's allegedly Amir Locke's cousin. So they looking for these guys, and then they got Amir Locke allegedly on this picture with his cousin holding up guns on his Instagram or Facebook, whatever social media it is. And this is how they control the narrative and use it against you. So now they're finna paint him as a potential criminal, a potential menace to society, and then they're gonna use this to help justify the officers' actions and to get them off. And so we have to watch. We just have to watch the images that we are okaying and turning a blind eye to. I know it's party time. We like to have a good time and XYZ, live your best life. But if living your best life is going to be detrimental to our youth, then you might need to make a sacrifice and make some changes that ultimately will result in other people having a better life, not just all about yourself. So, rest in peace to that young brother. I hope justice is served. I wish he wouldn't have grabbed a pistol because it was the laws coming in. But when you live in that type of lifestyle, I guess you don't know. People, shoot. I mean, how many of y'all out there that had y'all door kicked in? I mean, I knock on wood and I pray it hasn't, but I've never been in a situation, thank the Lord, that my door's been kicked in. And yeah, I keep my pistol, but at the same time, I try not to surround myself in situations where people will even want to kick my door in, whether it be the laws or anybody else. Now, if they just kick my door in, serving coming to the wrong house, then that's a different story. But it looks like they weren't coming to the wrong house. They were coming to the right house just looking for just caught the wrong person. And the person they were looking for, was his cousin, accused of a murder, possibly I think it was a carjacking, but it was a robbery, committed with a 223, with either AK or chopper, whatever you want to call it, but had 223 rounds. So, that's an unfortunate situation. So it looks like they had a protest, and we're gonna transition a little bit. They had a protest in honor of Amir Locke, right? So this is where it even gets even crazier. So as I'm, doing my homework and looking over this situation, it looks like the protest that they had for Amir Locke looks like a woman got killed and 5 other people got injured at a shooting, for this protest for Amir Locke. And I'm like, man, what else can potentially happen around this situation? Now it seems like that what may have happened is that these people were, came out to protest for Amir Locke. And during the protest, it seems like a person had came out to confront the protesters and then open fire on the protesters. All right, so let's go through. I'll read through it a little bit. A woman was killed and 5 others were injured in a shooting near a park in Portland, Oregon, police said. Officers from the North Precinct responded to a report of shots fired near the Northeast 55th Avenue and Hassalo Street in Rose City Park neighborhood about 8 p.m. on Saturday. The Portland Police Bureau said in a news release. The area is near the southwest corner of Normandale Park. Arriving officers found 1 woman dead and 5 others who had been shot. 2 men, 3 women were all taken to area hospitals. Their conditions not immediately known. Police did not name anyone involved in the shooting or provide any details about the circumstance that led up to the incident. The shooting occurred at the same time a Justice for Amir Locke protest was taking place in Normandale, according to the flyers that was circulating on social media. And it looks like they talk about here we go here. So Locke, the 22-year-old black man, fatally shot by Minneapolis police during an early morning raid on the apartment February 2nd. 7 demonstrators told Oregon Public Broadcasting that they saw a person come out of a nearby home and confront a group of about 50 protesters. That person then reportedly opened fire at the crowd. Man, now where's the news coverage for this story? Where's all the media attention? I found this story on Newsweek, but I haven't seen this story broadcasted all over the internet. Now, we need to talk about this just as much. These radical people who are out here, not just the police officers as well, but these radical individuals who are out here causing harm need to be put out on blast too, because it's too many people like this who go under the radar committing these type of crimes, and you rarely even hear about it. I'm pretty sure many of you listening tonight and didn't even know about this story, but it's an unfortunate situation. You don't see a picture of the alleged killer, because one person did die, so the alleged killer and shooter. But hopefully here in the near future more will come out. But it looks like that a person was killed and later on that day, which was possibly the suspect, but there's been really no confirmation on that yet. So make sure that you guys, stay abreast on those type of situations, man, and just really be careful, So, but with that being said, I want to kind of transition a little bit to Daunte Wright. As we know that the officer Kim Porter was sentenced to 2 years, 16 months in a prison, and the rest of the time is going to be commuted. I believe she's going to be on like some type of probation, and really feel like that situation was a very unfair sentence. You see the leniency, and it seems like it plays into the allegation that that the Asians and the Caucasian community have this camaraderie going on, and that was the reason why she received such a light sentence. So it was unfortunate that happened, but we're gonna get into that. I want to play that for you guys, and for those of y'all that haven't seen it. But I'm gonna play a couple videos and we're gonna talk more about that as well. All right, so let's see, Kim Potter. There we go.
A judge sentenced the former suburban Minneapolis police officer who killed Daunte Wright, Kim Potter, to 2 years in prison today. That was notably less than the standard manslaughter sentence of around 7 years. Potter fatally shot Wright, a 20-year-old black motorist, during a routine traffic stop last April. Special correspondent Fred DeSam Lazaro has our story.
Before today's sentencing in a downtown Minneapolis courtroom, Daunte Wright's mother spoke tearfully about her son.
She took our baby boy with a single gunshot through his heart. She shattered mine.
In December, Potter was convicted of first and second-degree manslaughter. She fatally shot Wright last April when she said she confused her handgun for a taser. The killing sparked protests and clashes with police. Today, Potter addressed Wright's family.
Katie, I understand a mother's love, and I am sorry I broke your heart. My heart is broken for all of you.
In handing down her sentence, Judge Regina Chu compared Potter's crime to Derek Chauvin's killing of George Floyd, as well as the 2017 shooting of a white woman by a black Minneapolis police officer, Muhammad Noor, who received a far longer sentence.
Officer Potter made a mistake that ended tragically. She never intended to hurt anyone.
And I'm gonna pause that real quick. I'll back it up a little bit. So the judge go ahead and start crying for the lady, and then goes on to say how she never intended to hurt anyone. First of all, how the judge know what this woman was thinking? People fake the funk and act every day. People fake cry. What was the case where you had goodness gracious, where the boy was fake crying on the stand a couple months back, who had killed the guys in the killed the guys in the protest. Like, come on, man. What's up with it, Coop? You know what I'm saying? So, but the judge goes on to cry for Kim Potter, and it looks like Kim is giving this fake cry. I know the mama is brokenhearted because it really feels like that this was definitely unjustified, and the sentence that they gave her was, man, as you talk about a slap on the wrist. She's not gonna even do the whole 16 months. I can almost guarantee you that. And then, like I said, it just plays into this stereotype, that this Asian and this Caucasian community work together. Yeah, man. So let's finish this video and we're gonna watch this other one real quick. And it's gonna play into how they can control the narrative.
Her conduct cries out for a sentence significantly below the guidelines.
After the sentence was handed down, Daunte Wright's family and supporters expressed outrage.
Kim Potter murdered my son, and he died April 11th. Today, the justice system murdered him all over again. This is the problem with our justice system today. White women tears trumps.
Wow.
Trumps justice. And I thought my white women tears would be good enough because they're true and genuine.
Potter will serve 2/3 of her time, about 16 months in prison. The rest will be on parole. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Fred DeSan Lazaro.
A judge.
Man, I'm gonna stop that right there. And that was an impactful statement that his mother had made in the end. Before I get to this other video with Daunte, where she said that you know what I'm saying? Yeah, bro, that seemed very corrupt, bro. Like, the sentence just seems so slighted. And then the mother, it's kind of reminds you of the Botham Jean case where the judge goes up and hugs Amber Geiger. Like, that seemed a little sketchy, man. Like, you a judge, you're supposed to be impartial. You're not supposed to be crying for people. You're just supposed to go with the facts and XYZ. All that old crying and showing empathy, this, that, and the third. You're just supposed to, make the ruling and, and move on from there. But when the mother goes on to say that the white woman tears seem to, trump everything, and she thought that her white woman tears would be enough because they were genuine. Well, you got to realize you got two type of, you can say two type, but you have these different type of white people. Well, you got the white people who were, let's just use the Civil War. So you had the Union and you had the Confederates, right? The Union Army was willing to kill the Confederates, and the Confederates were willing to kill the Union Army members. White people will kill and fight each other. And I remember just being in college. It was a lot of white kids who had it well off. Parents, had left them trust funds, or grandparents had left them trust funds. Parents owned stocks, had major companies, made really good money. But let some of them date interracially. Man, a lot of their parents would threaten them with cutting them off completely. Like, okay, you gonna do this? I'm gonna cut you off. And I believe that, like, in a situation with like Daunte Wright's mother, she has a black husband. I'm assuming that they married. She has a black husband and a black son. So a lot of the white supremacists, or the white people that are on code who don't like the interracial marriage, they look at her as an enemy of the state, or what they call an end lover. And so at that point, you are no longer on the same team. They done with you. So yeah, you thought your white woman tears are equivalent to those that are in the system, but they're not, because they look at you as, you turned your back, and you unclean to them in their eyesight. So I'm gonna play this other video with about Daunte Wright, and just kind of, once again, it kind of points to how they can control the narrative against you. All right, so let me share my screen real quick. How they would use the narrative against you. You got to watch that, man. I gotta watch that. Let's see. All right, here we go. Let's see if I can get to it. So, as you saw, the picture of Daunte Wright holding the pistol, right? And then when you go on to read the article, like I showed you, so you got Daunte with the pistol in there, smoking weed, Hennessy bottle, holding pistols, all right? And then the article talks about how Daunte Wright led a life of crime and violence before his death, and shot his own friend in the head, broke into a neighbor's home, and robbed a woman at gunpoint. Then the highlights say Daunte Wright had led a life of crime and violence in the years before his death. The 20-year-old was involved in the shooting of two of his high school friends, a home burglary, and previously assaulted and robbed a woman at gunpoint. Jennifer LeMay said Wright shot her son, Cato Livingston, 18, in the head at a gas station, and let him to die in an incident in Minneapolis in May 2019. Another woman, identified only as CV, told DailyMail.com Wright assaulted her and pointed a gun at her in attempted robbery in 2019. And in 2017, Wright was arrested and charged with felony first-degree burglary of an occupied dwelling after breaking into his friend's parents' home. Guys, that's what I mean about how they will paint the narrative to discredit you, destroy your image, and justify giving a police officer that killed you a 2-year sentence. And not saying that this stuff isn't relevant, because to a degree it is relevant, but it's not relevant in the situation where he was killed in. It was not relevant, because even if he was fleeing from the police officer, he did not, pull out a gun. He did not show, make any threatening gestures. He was just trying to flee away. The car was not coming at the police officers. She just popped him. She said, taser, taser, taser. She shot him with a gun, admitted she made the mistake. So even if you do make a mistake like that, I really don't believe that a 2-year sentence is justifiable. 5 to 10 years is light. I mean, because you made the mistake. You're a police officer. You're held to a high standard of the law. You're a veteran. She was a veteran police officer. She wasn't a rookie. So, the 2-year sentence was very lenient. And which you had the Muhammad Noor, the Arab or black police officer a few years ago. He was given, I believe, like 5 years, and for accidentally, for discharging his weapon and killing the lady the white woman who actually called in the report. So I just really think that that's an unfair situation, but that's how they use the narrative against you. You have to be careful with these images that you put out on your social media. You parents out there, you know what your kids are doing, so you just need to have that talk with them and really stay on them. Yeah, exactly. He wasn't strapped, and even if he was strapped, he didn't point the weapon at the lady. So I don't really feel like she had the justification of shooting to kill him. Even if she did, say it was a taser, she still shot and killed the man. Therefore, she should receive a more harsh punishment. So, and then, she goes on, if you want to see it, she goes on some more and more with the little fake tears and the fake crying. And it's really almost pathetic. And so, guys, we just have to do more and be careful about, the type of situations we allow our kids to get in. And then, we have to monitor them and stop justifying the stupid behavior that's going on in the mainstream media, in our entertainment community. I was talking to my father today, and we talked about how white supremacy and racism is everywhere in our community. You got racist judges, racist attorneys, racist business owners, and racist media personalities. Yeah, racism is everywhere. All right, racist politicians. All right, yeah, right. Biden ain't gonna do nothing. Right. So, but the racism is woven into every level of our society, right? But we have to get to a point, like I said before, in spite of all of those setbacks in our community, we still have to be successful regardless, because we have, black people in our country that are very wealthy. They have millions and millions of dollars. Some that may not be as wealthy, but I had a question. Is it white supremacy that keeps black people from building their own hotels? Is it white supremacy that keeps black people from wanting to build their own grocery stores? Or is it a lack of want to? Is it white supremacy that keeps black people from owning, skyscrapers? Or is it a lack of want to? Is it white supremacy that keeps black people from owning construction companies? Or is it a lack of want to? Is it white supremacy that keeps black people from owning car dealerships, major car dealerships? Or is it a lack of want to? Is it white supremacy that keeps black people from franchising out major industries like a Subway or a Chipotle, a healthy food spots, or a gym, or any one of these mainstream organizations or companies that you can lease and own? I mean, you see Rick Ross, he got Wingstops, right? He franchised out Wingstops. I believe you had some women in California, her and her daughter franchised out all these McDonald's. Guys, white supremacy is something that you're not going to get rid of. It's woven throughout the world, not just here in the United States. White supremacy dominates the world, from here all the way to Asia, from here to all the way to Russia, from Canada to Antarctica. White supremacy is everywhere. You're not going to get rid of it. So we got to get to a point to where we got to quit getting hung up on white supremacy. White supremacy. Okay, white supremacy is here, and we got to fight that, forever. We got to always fight it. But in the meantime, we still have to build an economic base for our people in our community. See, this is why segregation was a hindrance to the Black community, because integration was a hindrance to our community. It helped and it hurt us, because many Black people felt like, well, guess what? I don't have to come to your Black business no more. I can go to J.C. Penney now. I don't have to ride these Black buses no more. I can ride the white buses now. I don't have to go to the Black grocery store no more. I can go to Tom Thumb. I don't have to shop at the, Black department store. I don't have to go, support all these Black businesses. Therefore, it destroyed the Black economic base. So we have to get to a point to where, many of us, come together and build our own, because many of our kids, when they get up in age and go look for jobs, they aren't getting hired by people that look like you, look like, their mothers and fathers and aunts and uncles. They're going to go get jobs from other races. Yes, and you mentioned Tulsa, cuz that's a good one. And we have had Black Wall Streets like Tulsa and many of these places where our communities were burned down, our communities were destroyed. But I got a question. Do we quit? Do we say, you know what, if we build up a community, if we build up a Black Wall Street, they just gonna come burn it down anyway, so why do so? Is that the mindset that we develop? Or do we say, you know what, in spite of this time when we build a Tulsa, we're going to have our own police force. We're going to have a militia ready. We're not just going to let you just come burn down our community. We're going to learn from the mistakes that we made and prepare ourselves for anything. We have to get to a point to where we don't quit and we have a more aggressive mentality. We get aggressive with each other. When you go to another person's neighborhood, a Black neighborhood, or another Black person's city, oh, we willing to kill and fight and rob and tell them, you got to check in, man. You can't come here, this, that, and the third. But what are we going to do, to actually build up our own people and inspire our own? Or are we just going to tell each other, oh, nah, man, we can't do it because the white supremacy is going to burn down our city, or they're going to destroy the next Freedmen's Bank when we try to put out. Well, you got cats like Jay Morrison, who built the Legacy Center out there in Atlanta. You got Tariq Nasheed, who's trying to put together the Foundation of Black American Museum, who putting out Hidden Colors and making millions and millions of dollars off his movies and books. All right, so we got people who are making it in spite of, and therefore I feel like that, we have to I'll have to get on code, develop that type of mentality to not just give up, get in the fight, get in the trenches, and know that, hey, man, it's a real fight out here. It's chess, not checkers. And the other team is trying to checkmate you. When I remember my cousin them used to play the PlayStation, used to play Madden, and, and I wasn't that good, but I couldn't get mad at my cousin then when they was beating me at Madden and just go kick the game or go break the remote controller. Well, if you mad at them and you want to get them off the stick, you're going to have to practice and get better and beat them at their own game. That way they get off the stick, right? So it's the same thing with the game of life. That's why it's called a game. You got to beat the person at their own game. You can't get mad like, oh, man, the white man beating me at the game, and so I just want to get mad and go fight. Yeah, you could do that, but if you think and use your mind, then you can outthink them and outthink the situation, because that's the only reason that they dominated the Black man anyway. How they were able to dominate the Egyptians and dominate the Nubians and dominate all these Aboriginal people, They just came up with they just started out thinking, and then they were willing to use military action to actually, dominate these societies. And it just is what it is. The Romans were revered for their military tactics because they was, thought about how to do it. Even how we respect Hannibal, how he was able to, use his mind to actually be one of the most dominating warriors and leaders of his time. So that's all, guys. I just really feel like that it's not that we can't defeat white supremacy, because it's everywhere, but we have to find a way to build up our own bases and fight it on a different playing field. So everybody just do your part, raise your family, raise your children the way they're supposed to, and I really feel like that's really the main thing that you can do. Getting out here trying to save the world and save everybody, it's cool to do, but like I know, majority of the world don't care about stuff like this. You don't see millions and millions of views on Kodak Black getting shot. You're gonna see millions and millions of views on the baby having a fight. You're not gonna see millions and millions of views of people talking about trying to uplift the community and what can we do to build, a black apartment complex, or black owned apartment complexes, or black owned or majority black owned gated communities, or the first black skyscraper in the United States. Because I don't know any skyscrapers owned by black people. What about the first black luxury hotels? Because I don't really know any black owned hotels that could rival the Omni or rival the W Hotel. But you got some black owned strip clubs. So anyways, let me cut it out. GG's, baby, GG's. Already, but so man, just do what you can, raise yours the best you can. And I say, I just put this knowledge out here or just speak my piece because I know that all our time is limited, and I know that this message will stick around longer than I will. So I hope it means something to somebody. So man, I appreciate you, Coop, hanging in there with me, man. I love you, cuz. Y'all boys hold it down. Hope you guys have a good night. Hope everybody has a great week. And peace. I'm out. Chill.